What's up? My name is John Bonjour. I am a comic book artist and film enthusiast, which makes me uniquely suited to do an MCU rewatch to end all MCU rewatches. This is a series that will be going throughout this year leading up to Avengers Doomsday. I am watching every film and show put out in chronological order, in universe order, and seeing how it all comes together. I will be looking at each of these movies and shows as an individual piece and also how it fits and feels in the universe. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I am very much looking forward to seeing how this kind of comes together. And I have always been a big defender, not a pun, of a lot of the later on Marvel things that a lot of people don't like. I am interested to see if that remains true as we go forward. Do I still think that these are great? How do I feel about the original stuff? It's going to be a lot of fun. Today we're starting with Captain America. This is directed by Joe Johnston. I'm pretty sure. This is a really, just a professional way to do this. I like to keep it profesh, you know what I mean? Directed by Joe Johnston. I really just could have stuck with it. Directed by Joe Johnston, Captain America, the First Avenger, is a very interesting film. It's a movie that kind of, in my original watchings, you gotta remember, when I watched this movie, it was in 2012 when the Avengers was gonna come out, and I was 11, right? Like, I was not a connoisseur of film. I didn't know for beans. I didn't know what I was talking about, and so Captain America has always been a movie that in my mind is a little boring and a little bit just kind of like, yeah, but that's like an old one. That's one of the old ones. It's the same stupid feeling that I used to have about like black and white movies, where I used to just think if there wasn't color in a movie, it was like, what's even the point? Which is hugely close-minded of me, but also, again, can't stress this enough, 11. I was 11. So the idea of this thing being like a period piece set in World War II, I didn't know anything about World War II. I knew Hitler was a bad guy, and I mean, I guess that's good. That's a good start. But it's not like I was a huge World War II kid. I didn't like history, so this was not a movie that appealed to me. I liked the bits where he was throwing a shield around, and that was literally it. Actually, my original take on this movie was that it would be way better if it was just all war stuff. It was just completely a war movie where Captain America's going around killing Nazis. I'm not saying that wouldn't be a fun movie. That would be a movie with a lot less heart and character and drama. It would just be a fun thing to watch. That's a very like current Star Wars coded idea, and that is not good. I'm hugely disappointed in past John for feeling that way. Getting to the movie now, I love Captain America. I thought this was just a great time. There's so much to love about it. Chris Evans, first and foremost, was truly born to play this role. He has that good old American charm while also having the kind of grit and going against his superiors kind of energy that you needed in Captain America. He's firm. He's also like firm, but I mean, he's like firm in spirit. He plays that character with such a like truth to it that anybody else might not necessarily. I don't think he's the only guy who could play him, but I do think it's just phenomenal casting. Sebastian Stan is also in this as Bucky Barnes. Not the cool version of Bucky Barnes, but, you know, a version of Bucky Barnes. And he gets a cute little costume at one point. If we're going to talk about any of the bad things, there's some of the movie that kind of loses steam. And I think it has to do a lot of things that it doesn't necessarily want to do in terms of setting up the universe. This is a movie that is very uninterested in dealing with any of the ramifications of Nazis, anything involving Nazis. Like, this is a movie that separates itself from Nazis in a very specific way. It sets up Hydra well. And this is getting into the universe stuff, so I'll get to that later. Anyway, as a movie, it's uninterested in kind of engaging with Nazis or with World War II kind of as a whole, outside of the idea that this guy wants to be in the war, he wants to do a good thing, and part of doing a good thing is punching Nazis. All, you know, things I agree with. But as a character, like, Red Skull doesn't have a lot to do. He has some threatening moments, but there is no real weight to the character, at least that I was feeling this time around. We are told he's this very big, very dangerous guy, but you never really feel it. There's not really that like graspable weight that you want for this kind of character, so he doesn't make for a uniquely fun villain to watch, although Hugo Weaving does a very good job in the performance. And visually speaking, he looks phenomenal. He has great costumes, and the makeup or CGI or whatever they use to kind of make the face work, it's exceptional. I mean, it just looks really, really good. The action choreography is really fun. It's fun to see Steve kind of figure out how to be Captain America. This is an origin story movie in a way that I really like, where we get to see them develop into the character that we know and love and into the character that we want them to be. But it's never a story about how they are terrible at doing this, and then there's a montage, and then they're good at it. You watch him develop his fighting style throughout this movie, and we'll get to future movies as we go on, but in future movies, he develops his fighting style a lot. I've always loved that about the character of Captain America. I also now, as you know, an adult who can think, really love that this is a period piece. I love the sentimentality that this thing has. I love the idea that Captain America comes from a completely different world, and that world is just a different time than ours, and not even like the Middle Ages. It's just he comes from a time where people were less abrasive, and not even like abrasive, a time where people were less pessimistic. I love that there's an optimism that he carries that comes from his time, comes from his character. It's really well laid out. It's a very fun movie. And the final action sequence is quite a lot of fun. The best action sequence is the montage of him in the war, just going around doing cool kick-ass Captain America shit. But the final act is very good. Seeing him falling out of the big ship and then taking a tiny little ship and going back in is really fun. I like the implication that these people are like, they're gonna drive the bombs, which means they're not making it. We've heard that they're cult-like, but I think that's a very cool, like, kind of subliminal, small little thing that if you don't notice it, you're like, oh, it's a cute little bomb thing. And if you do notice it, you're like, oh, that's particularly dark. As a film, I was surprised at how much I loved Captain America. The arc of his character is really good. Him and Peggy land very well. It's this pseudo almost romance that I think is a lot of fun to watch. It's a thing that I never connected with as a child, and I think is gonna make, you know, Endgame, and we'll see about Doomsday, mean a lot more now that I actually care about like their relationship outside of just him being Captain America. I think this is upper tier Marvel so far for me, and I can't wait to see like how I feel about the other Captain America movies. As a universe, obviously there's not a lot to compare on because I tried to go into this as like, this is the first movie. This is the first movie in a universe. But I think knowing where we're going, it does set up a lot of things really quite well. It sets up S.H.I.E.L.D. in a fun way. It sets up Captain America and the Starks. It sets up this world where these things are kind of destined to meet each other in the Avengers. The seeds are being sown for things that will make sense and come together later on, but not in a fan servicey way, not in a way that feels like it's trying to make something obvious or anything like that. But it is cool to see, like, part of the fun of the Marvel Universe is that it's connected and that there's things that just sort of come together and become like their own ecosystem of storytelling. And I think that's what makes this so fun, and also a thing that not everyone can do and not everyone should do. But part of what makes the universe so fun is that it's connected, and this is a really fun start to the universe, and I think it does a good job sort of lowering you into this. It's a world that feels real and feels honest, and it kind of slowly sets you into the idea of superheroes. Up next, we do have Captain Marvel, and I am very interested to see how that plays in a direct response to this, but for now, that's been Captain America. That's my Riri Williams review. I'm vaping. I'm getting lost in the sauce. That's my review of Captain America, the First Avenger, and I will see you soon for Captain Marvel. Thank you so much for watching this video and checking out my channel. If you'd like to hear more of my thoughts on movies, comics, TV shows, anything of the like, please do hit the like button and the subscribe. Comment down below what you'd like me to review next, or do none of those things, because I am not your dad.